Coming up on this edition of Second Alarm, we'll learn about the effort to teach hands-only CPR to 10,000 Spokane residents this year. We'll also meet a sudden cardiac arrest survivor who is alive today because of bystander CPR. Plus, we'll train with the Spokane Fire Department crews as they learn a new emergency bailout procedure. Those stories and much more coming up on this edition of Second Alarm. Hello and welcome to this edition of Second Alarm. I'm Assistant Chief Brian Schaefer. The Spokane Fire Department has partnered with Spokane Heart Rescue to teach 10,000 people in Spokane hands-only CPR. This is a life-saving skill and can be easily learned in less than 10 minutes. Recently, we helped teach over 500 people CPR at Gonzaga University.
The rate of compression is 100 a minute. Think of the song Staying Alive.
We're trying to teach 10,000 people the hands-only compression this year, and this is our first big attempt at doing a public CPR instruction.
Hey you, call 911 now.
Spokane Heart Rescue is a collaboration of the EMS agencies in Spokane, Spokane Fire, the county districts, AMR. It's a nonprofit organization, and we got a grant to teach the CPR to the public and also to do some EMS training.
Yes, we will.
Compressions only is extremely easy. People just need to remember to push down hard and fast. We don't need to worry about getting an airway anymore. We don't need to worry about giving breaths. Just giving those compressions is one of the most important things that they can do.
And so that's what we're really trying to stress with people right now, is that fact that you don't have to do anything else except do those compressions. And if you can do that until the defibrillator gets there, it keeps the heart oxygenated enough to where you can convert ventricular fibrillation a lot easier.
It's really good to be able to have people come in and, give everybody the chance and opportunity. Since it's free, I think more people are able to come in, take the time out of their day and do it. More people are willing.
100 times a minute. Back up. Allow the chest to rise back up.
I am so thankful for what you rescue guys do, I get emotional every time I talk about it. I couldn't believe you guys worked so hard for so long for me. It's like when I finally got out of the hospital and met the guys, I said, why in the world did you do it for so long? I was like, I just couldn't believe it. And they said they could tell that I was trying. There was some aspect of me that was trying to survive, and they just put all they could into it, and they saved my life. They saved my life. Look at me, I'm crying, It's like, it's like amazing, and I'm so thrilled. I told everyone I know, and I passed words to cafes and different places, hey, pass this around. This is a wonderful opportunity to learn CPR for free.
This is the last piece of the puzzle. We've taken care of everything else. Now it's the time. We just don't have a defibrillator on every corner that we can just automatically put it on someone. And so that's why having the very first step, which is somebody who knows how to do good compressions at the rate that we need, is the final and most important step. So this is it. This what Kathy's doing here in AMR and what she's starting is going to complete and bring our save rate hopefully up into the 70s, 80s, 90s. Hoping so.
If you would like more information on Spokane Heart Rescue or find out more about CPR events in our community, please visit their website at SpokaneHeartRescue.com. Spokane Heart Rescue is also telling stories of sudden cardiac arrest survivors. John Bertinoli is the last person you would ever expect to suffer a cardiac arrest. He's young, he's fit, and he even runs triathlons. Fortunately, when he did collapse, he was playing indoor soccer and his teammates knew exactly what to do. They called 911 and immediately started CPR.
Normal day, Wednesday, and I know it's a Wednesday because Wednesday is soccer day. Down at Kids Sport, we have a really good men's over 40 league that played on Wednesday nights, and I kind of look forward to it all day because it's a great group of guys. Was down there kind of at the normal time, played a couple of games, and the way it works is we play a couple of games and then you rotate out so the next team can rotate in. So my team rotated out and we were just kind of off to the side of the field, just kind of discussing things and chatting and waiting for our next turn to go back out on the field. And I just noticed that I started to feel very dizzy and then lightheaded, and honestly, at that point, everything just went blank.
We asked John a question, and it was just silence. And then I would look at John and wondering what the silence was about, and he was just staring off into space, and then he just slowly drifted out of his chair right onto the floor. And our first response was assuming that he had fainted, because that's what it looked like. He just fainted. Well, I guess he did faint, but fainted from who knows what. So we just responded and assumed he had fainted, and we're taking that kind of precaution.
I remember the night vividly up till the point where I lost consciousness, and I remember thinking, I'm not really playing all that well tonight, which is not uncommon. You have good nights, you have bad nights, but I do also remember when I was talking with some of my friends off the field that very quickly I got this real feeling of dizziness and lightheaded, and not uncommon for me because I do have fairly low blood pressure, so sometimes if I stand up quick or if I move quick, I will get a little lightheaded. But then this didn't go away, and it just accelerated to the point where I lost consciousness.
Then after doing the checks, we quickly realized there was like 2 or 3 of us hovering over him, trying to surmise what was wrong. Somebody said, check his pulse. Checked his pulse. There's no pulse. So at that point in time, we all kind of looked at each other, and we realized what we needed to do. And then it occurred to me that I had recently taken CPR training, and so I knew what to do. And so I just did it. I'm not even sure there's a real conscious thought of doing it, but I know the training prepares you for that. And then when the moment of truth comes, I took action.
So we got dispatched to a soccer field for a cardiac arrest, male patient down the ground, young male. My understanding is bystander CPR was performed on scene, and early defibrillation was performed on scene by Fire Department, Spokane Fire Department, which resulted in the patient becoming having a return of spontaneous circulation. So patient was then out of arrest.
One of the things that they were really surprised about right off the bat was the fact that after they delivered the shock to get my heart going again right at the site, that I regained consciousness. Because from what I've heard, that's not typically the outcome in a situation like this, is that typically somebody who has sudden cardiac death their heart will get going, but they'll be in a coma for several days, or they'll often suffer some type of kidney damage or brain damage based on the fact that they didn't have good oxygenation of the brain or the kidneys during the CPR. And when they found out how long Kent did CPR, for over 10 minutes, and that there was no damage to either my renal functions or my brain, they were really surprised. And that's something that they've highlighted several times.
This whole situation was rather surreal. It's hard to prepare yourself, emotionally and mentally for that. But more than anything, we're just hoping and praying that John's going to be okay, and that we're doing the right thing for him.
If you learn these skills, I don't think it's a matter of if you're going to use them, but when. I mean, everybody at some point is going to be put in that situation where having that knowledge could make a huge difference.
His wife came to collect some of his things that he had been left there, and his daughters were with him. They took the day off school, and seeing his daughters there, wow, that was something that was very impactful for me to see what could have happened, how I could have been looking at 2 fatherless girls, and things hadn't happened the way they did.
I've got a great life. I've got a great family. You know, it's hard for me to kind of get my arms around everything I'm thankful for, because there is so much. But, you know, all of the people in my life, the ones that were there to support me, you know, up until this happened, and the ones who've been there since. I mean, it's overwhelming at times. You know, you just try and figure out, how do you express, you know, those types of things, you know, to your family, to your friends, you know, how important they are. That's a big thing.
I think this is just kind of an unusual circumstance, because he was a young male, generally in pretty good health, playing soccer, but obviously it seems like the early compressions that were performed is very important, and allowing for the early defibrillation too as well was very important in this scenario.
So the one thing probably is be prepared for those moments when you have to act, and you might see the CPR training is good for saving people's lives, and it's certainly worth the time to get out there and get her done.
I honestly don't think that if I would have been the one standing there with somebody who was needing, you know, CPR or needing first aid of some kind, that I would have been able to respond quite the same way that Kent and some of the other guys did. I would like to hope I do, but I guess that is one of the messages I do try and give to people is, you know, if you learn these skills, I don't think it's a matter of if you're going to use them, but when. I mean, everybody at some point is going to be put in that situation where having that knowledge could make a huge difference.
The Spokane Fire Department responds to over 32,000 calls for service every year. Not all of those calls, however, are for life-threatening emergencies. The department's Community Assistance Response Team, or CARES team, is helping reduce the number of those calls by helping citizens find alternatives to calling 911 and truly serving as a bridge between social service agencies and the fire department.
Hi, my name's Miguel. This is Dinah.
Hi, Miguel. I'm Dinah.
Hi. We're with the Spokane Fire Department CARES team. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Recently, you had a visit by the firefighters?
I did. Yes, they were very kind.
Yeah, they were very concerned about you, so they asked us to come out here and see how you were doing and see if there is anything we can do for you, any kind of assistance.
Oh, okay. Do you want to come in?
Yes. Yes, please.
The CARES team is a team of social workers, students who come from Eastern Washington University. They're in their practicum placement, and they are here to respond to people who call 911 more often than they should.
What's the location of your emergency, please? And what's the problem there?
The students go out and do an in-home assessment on the person that's been referred from the firefighters to see if there's other community agencies, social service supports, family networks that we can connect them to so that they can have an alternative to calling 911.
How about since you fell and you were in the bathroom for a while, would you be interested in a medic alert button?
That might be helpful.
Okay.
I've never thought about it, but it could be.
CARES team comes from the background of social services education. So they understand the more global piece from treating the person's social needs. They have all those relationships that are pre-designed and already in place with other aspects of government, other aspects of nonprofits, and several for-profit hospitals and community resources like that. So they go in and they evaluate the client from that perspective, look at what that client would need from the services that we have in our community and in our state to offer, and then they broker those services and act as an intermediary, almost like an advocate, a client advocate to those agencies, so they don't get lost. So they're actually able to make a connection and follow up on that connection and really take control of their individual lives.
Sometimes they are not aware that there are services that they even qualify for. And once we present them the literature on it or the information, or actually call the social worker at another agency and link them up, they're quite happy to know that there's something else out there.
We can never predict what kind of calls we're going to get or what kind of referrals we're going to get. I think it started out with just, the little old lady who was falling, and, we went into the home, did an in-home assessment, looked for, do they have grab bars in their bathroom? Do they have the appropriate equipment in their bedroom to make that transition out of bed? And we've really have gotten a much more complex kind of referral these last couple of years. We can get anywhere from a person who's intoxicated and needs support from rehab or detox, or a mental health client who has gone off of their medications, and we get the mental health agencies involved so that we can help stabilize that person, and folks that need support from a variety of agencies, not just a one entry problem solve kind of thing. It's much more complex, and we try to wrap services around that person so that we can stabilize them in a variety of ways, including getting their family involved to let them know that their family member is really in crisis and needs their support.
And the feedback from the crews in the field has been just outstanding. I had initial reservations about bringing in a civilian culture where we have a paramilitary organization based on 130 years of tradition. And once the CARES team was implemented, they spent a lot of time with our companies, with our firefighters, listening and learning and developing that relationship to where now they are an equivalent and relied upon part of our team. They're dispatched to fire incidents. They're also dispatched to major medical incidents where we have a lot of patients. They're revered by the crews because the CARES team is solving problems for our paramedics and our EMTs, and they're truly taking care of the patients that before we weren't able to care for. We didn't have the right solutions. It was incredibly frustrating for the company officers and for the firefighters because they couldn't solve the problems. And now we've got that solution in our toolbox where we never have before. This spring, the Red Cross and the crews from the Spokane Fire Department went door to door in West Central neighborhoods to canvass for fire safety. Volunteers and the Spokane Fire Department personnel emphasized the importance of having a working smoke detector in every home.
Hello. How's it going? Good. I'm here at the Spokane Fire Department. We're here going door to door with the Red Cross here locally. Just reminding folks to change their smoke detector batteries, make sure they have a working smoke detector in their house.
Today, Spokane Fire Department is working with the local Red Cross organization to help them get information out on basic fire safety to homes in the neighborhood that's just north of the Red Cross office. The reason that they're doing it is because the cost to the Red Cross every year for fires in homes is really their #1 cost. And so trying to make people more aware so that they do what they need to do in terms of having good smoke detectors in their homes and know that they're working, that they're not more than 10 years old, and that they also have good fire escape plans for their family.
Every 72 hours we respond to a house fire on average. So in the month of January we had 28 families we assisted that were affected by fires or other disasters.
Just reminding folks to check their smoke detectors, make sure their batteries are changed, that kind of thing. Do you have a working smoke detector in the home?
The biggest message we're trying to get out is people really need to take that time to look at the condition of their own home in terms of smoke detectors. Look on the back label of their smoke detector to see what date it was actually manufactured. Make sure that you don't have a smoke detector that's more than 10 years old, and preferably that you have at least one photoelectric smoke detector on each level of your home. There's 2 kinds of smoke detectors, and we know now that in a smoldering kind of fire that the photoelectric goes off much quicker than an ionization smoke detector.
Even if it's just one family that does check their smoke detector and gets new batteries and they get out of their house in time, I think that all of this makes a difference.
This month, every operational member in the fire department will be training with our new Firefighter self-rescue device. FEO Mike Forbes was instrumental in the design and implementation of the program. He has more on this life-saving training.
We are training the end user, the basic job, about the use of the escape system that we've been working on developing for the past year. It was a part of an AFG grant, Assistance to Firefighters grant, that we received from the federal government. It allowed us to purchase an escape system which allows firefighters to get out of a building quickly if they need to find themselves cut off from their normal means of exit. It allows you, in a sense, to rappel out the side of the building. It's hooked up to a harness in our bunker gear. It lives in our pocket. We can quickly deploy it, hook the windowsill, and go head first out the window and rappel down the side of the building to safety. It consists of a hook, which is for hooking at the windowsill. It stabs into whatever kind of soft material you can find near the window, the sheetrock, the windowsill. It consists of the descent control device, which is what controls how fast you slide down the side of the wall. Carabiner to connect to our belts, and then the rope, which is a special rope. It's a high heat, high abrasion resistant special fire escape rope designed by a company on the East Coast. And then there's a bag that everything stores in our right-hand pocket, and then the escape belt that will be on everybody's bunker gear that takes the place of the normal belt that we wear. Once we received the grant from the government, we decided to really look at escape systems in a very in-depth way. Instead of just buying something that was off the shelf, we felt that we wanted to really look at all the different components and see what best suited our needs. We worked with Sterling Rope, Extreme Rescue, and a couple of other companies, Fire Innovations, who made our belt, on a design that was really tailored to our needs and hopefully to other departments' needs. We did a lot of research into the design of the hook, and we assisted Sterling in commenting on the design of this hook and some of the prototype testing. We spec'd the components and how they work together, and then we also did a lot of testing into the products themselves. Like there isn't a lot of testing done on, for example, the abrasion resistance and the characteristics of the rope. So we created devices to test those things, to find out what worked best for us in a real world scenario. We really wanted to kind of see how it would work under the most difficult conditions and kind of push the systems to failure and see which one of them performed best. Guys have been really, really receptive to this training and have come up personally to me and to a lot of the other instructors. We have 16 total instructors. They have come up and said that they really appreciated the training. They felt that it was very practical and real world type of a training, and it's been very, very positive feedback. Guys are very appreciative of this device. The department's been very supportive of it. It's been a very good process.
On March 21st, a fire quickly tore through a home on the 5500 block of North Regal in Spokane's Hilliard neighborhood. It left 4 people homeless, and the Spokane Fire Department was on scene for hours, fighting the fire and also performing overhaul. We talked to one neighbor who is grateful for the firefighters and for the service they provided to the city.
We can't do without them. We have too many fires in this town. We have too many old homes that are restored or not restored that people live in, but we have to have the manpower. We have to have the resources to fight these kind of things and protect the people and get them out if we can and protect the other things around it. I mean, we can't be cutting resources.
That's all for this edition of Second Alarm. You can check out back episodes of Second Alarm on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, please give us a call at 509-625-7000 or drop us a line at fire@spokanefire.org. Thanks again for watching, and please stay safe.